We're sorry, we'll have to play that story in a few minutes from now. Now it was misallocated. President Museveni's reactions raised dust as different experts questioned the fate of the investigations, which Parliament tasked a special committee comprising of 5 members. Details follow.
List of the select committee.
On Wednesday, 10th November 2021, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, instituted a special committee to investigate allegations that 31 billion shillings meant for COVID-19 vaccine development in Uganda has been misallocated under the stewardship of the then Senior Presidential Advisor in Epidemics, Dr. Monica Musenero.
To establish the amount of funds so far released to the research, innovation, and COVID-19 vaccine development.
While officiating at the World Science Day at Kololo Airstrip on Wednesday, 10th November 2021, President Yoweri Museveni described the move to investigate the scientific community as an abuse of office.
Because you have no right to attack a decorated officer of the Uganda scientific community. You have no right, absolutely.
According to President, the Minister for Science and Technology under the Office of the President, Dr. Monica Musenero, has a history of profound results, and any harm to her works cannot be ignored. This did not go well with others.
Parliament took a decision that it will follow this money. And that is our function. The main function of Parliament, one of the main functions, is appropriation and oversight. As long as Museveni holds a public office, she will be accountable whether Museveni seeks to protect her or not.
So he has confidence. It's not that he wants to protect me, but he has confidence because we have worked for long. He knows who I am and how I work. So that is, it's not to say that there is anybody untouchable.
But what is the missing fact?
Scientifically, we can have artificial smoke. I can create for you artificial smoke. And you always see it in this theater. So artificial smoke is there.
That is normal. All of us have been investigated at one time and we have been found not guilty. And we don't punish anybody. We don't go for anybody. There's a time I appeared, I think, on the issue of NSSF.
The Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Olanya, calms the members of Parliament on the investigations by a special committee.
When you attack, you respond. But we don't feel any attack. As of now, there is no attack. If the president said those things, he was probably angered by the select committee on science and technology, which he's so passionate about at the moment. He could have got upset and said certain things, but it does not amount to an attack on Parliament.
The Presidential Scientific Initiative on Epidemics is seeking a supplementary budget of 50 billion, which is still opposed by Parliament, awaiting accountability of the alleged 31 billion shillings for vaccine development in Uganda. Daniel Mugoya and Gloria Gwitabinji, UBC News.
Well, UBC TV will definitely follow that story until the very end, so you can always keep updated. Now, President Yoweri Museveni this week President Yoweri Museveni re-emphasized that the murder of 2 persons at Luanda village along Jinja Kamli Highway happened. Now, the 2 who have been identified as Mirembe Juliet and Saddam Waiswa were traveling in a Toyota saloon car. We have details on this devastating story.
2 people have been gunned down in Jinja district last night. The deceased have been identified as Mirembe Juliet and Saddam Waiswa, who were driving a Toyota saloon car they had picked from a washing bay in Jinja district.
Well, I wouldn't love to call it an assassination. Maybe that's now a matter of semantics, but what I can confirm to you that yes, yesterday at around 2100 hours, that's around 9 p.m., there was an incident on Jinja Kamuli Road of murder by shooting. And unfortunately, that shooting costed the lives of 2 people. One was called Mirembe and another one was called Waiswa Saddam.
Eyewitnesses and area leaders recalled the last moments of the deceased and the scene before their gruesome murder with derision.
Amawulira agatuse wano gainamiza bana ife babiri bakubibwa amasasi babaire mu motoka yaibwe ayikiri kwewundisa omulambo ogundi guliere
emotoka eyo didi ebire wano didi nga dilondola mbu dwaiswa kato afire ya parking side wale kakati mbu kiboneka wabeire oko akanyologana kwa babaire kuma bali ayenga bali kubona abantu abalinga bali kwogera kati ndati process bawuli amasasi bo bakola ki balumuka era no muwala bali ko bantu wache waliwo distance nti omuwala olubasose kuba mulenzi omulenzi olukubya amasasi omuwala yayenda okulumuka akole ki ave okumukuba amasasi.
Wasa Saddam is known as the car washer, commonly known as Kanave. He had been left with the vehicle to wash, and he washed it successfully and had time to drive around with Mirembe, a person whom we have identified that has been a girlfriend. So they drove and they reached somewhere at a certain school, primary school called Luanda. They parked the vehicle, they came out. Immediately they started talking, chatting outside the vehicle. A vehicle, apparently which was numberless, came, shot 2 people dead at a short range, and they drove off and drove also the vehicle that Kanabe Wasa Saddam was driving.
According to the police ID spokesperson Charles Twine, the car they were traveling in has been recovered from Kakira and the owner summoned for police interrogation.
Fortunately, today the vehicle that had been stolen immediately after murdering those people has been got around Kakira sugar plantation with 7 live ammunitions belonging to an SMG AK. So with those leads, it really gives us energy to believe that now we shall build from there and get these bad guys. Some other information we haven't yet established, its authenticity, is that the deceased woman Mirembe was scheduled for an introduction, a formal introduction in the next two weeks. But the person she was intending to introduce is not the deceased. So when you look at those circumstances, somehow it also forms the theory which we build on.
On the other hand, Twine confirms the murder of the 13-odd-year girl in Chankususa sub-county, Sembabule district, also happening Friday night.
It's a young girl, aged 13 years. She has been a primary going child. Unfortunately, she was cut dead last evening at around 8 by unknown people. But according to the eyewitness, who happens to be a brother, he saw only one person, and it was just one chop, and the girl died. It's very unfortunate, and the investigators are on ground. They are trying to ascertain whether this was a syndicated crime, or whether it was just one single crime orchestrated by one person. And I think by the end of the day, today, we shall have known the mode and the intention.
Police has embarked on the investigations into the murder, vowing to bring to book the perpetrators of the crime. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
Very sad story. During the week, again, police in Kasese this week began investigating circumstances under which 2 juveniles were injured by an item suspected to be a bomb. The victims are Mbale Festo, 13 years, and Mumbere Gilbert, 11 years, all residents of Kogore Cell, Nyamwamba Division in Kasese Municipality. We have the details.
2 juveniles are currently nursing injuries at Chilembe Mines Hospital sustained from a suspected bomb blast in Kogore Cell, Nyamwamba Division in Kasese Municipality. The acting Public Relations Officer Renzoli East Police Station, ASP Tumwine Marusia, says the duo were hit by a metallic substance which they collected as scrap around the nearest UPDF training center. Tumine says despite collecting the items near the UPDF training center, it is still not clear if it was an item left behind by the army.
Ground is specified. And when you are training, we cannot conclusively say that what blasted was from the training ground. It could have come from another point, but it was near the training range ground of the UPDF.
Masika Eve, a resident who deals in buying and selling scrap, narrates that she was the first person to hold it when the children brought it for sale as scrap, but later refused it and the minors took it back.
Natandika kukakebera naleba akantu tinkachenga nabuza abantu teka kantu mwakiha bagira ngo nturuga kuri yo abasurukale naje nti mwaza kundetera bomu banamu nti mugaruze.
The area councillor, Herbert Bwambale, urged parents to remain keen in monitoring the movements of their children during this time of the pandemic. The hospital administrator, Chibaya Onesmus, says the victims will recover well.
Abbas and Road to Kabale this week caught fire around Kampalingisa along Kampala-Masaka Highway due to a mechanical fault. Now, according to police, investigations into the accident have commenced. However, no casualties have been reported. All the 37 passengers walked out of the bus unhurt.
This was the scene this Tuesday afternoon as a passenger bus under registration number UAU 926U prematurely abandoned its journey at Kampalingisa along Masaka Road after spitting fires. Managed by Gateway Bus Company, was en route to Kabale district with 37 passengers on board and all were evacuated injury-free.
Nimbagamba muveyo mpola mpola. Temubabaika kugwa mumenyeke. Nebavaamu mpola mpola ngekyanyoka wano mabega nebagwamu moroka ne kwata omuliro yokka.
But none is injured. They all disembarked without any injury, those who were on board.
As Mpigi District Fire Brigade rushed to the scene, there was nothing to save as the carrier was totally burnt to ashes. Samuel Omoji, who was the bus driver, narrates the ordeal.
Moroka ninda wange enyoka wendabye moroka nge enyoka mabega nenyimirira ngenzo okuvayo kutunulayo nga omuka guweze nengezako okukwata ki ekidomola ky'amazzi kizenzikize nebirema nenjivaako.
As police embarks on investigation into the matter, the driver was arrested from the scene to partly facilitate the process.
Kakati mwagala ku anti kutokozesa kifuba. Tokozesa kifuba.
There is no likelihood of anything like a blast or a bomb blast. It is from the mechanical condition of the bus. Yeah. Because no bomb is detected, nothing in connection to a bomb. No, for us we must continue investigating.
The State Minister for Internal Affairs, General David Muhoozi, was quick to give an update over the matter in today's parliamentary session.
Of a new bus having been burnt in Mpigi, and it is scaring enough. I thought the Minister would also advise us whether it is true or just alarming. And that's the information Minister, in relation to bombs.
Can you give us a clarification on that? It was in my communication because I saw it on social media. So you never know it is just a social media.
No, it isn't, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members. There was indeed an incident on Masaka Road at Kamengo to be exact. A bus caught fire and the information filtering in at the moment and not yet complete is that he developed mechanical conditions which forced the driver to stop. The passengers alighted, fortunately, but it caught fire nevertheless. The fire tenders are on the way, and once the fire is taken out, we shall verify to know the cause, whether it was something not related to the current threat of terrorism.
Although there were mixed reactions, especially from members of the public upon receiving the news of this Kampalingisa bus fire, police has embarked on the investigation to ascertain and get more details on what could have sparked this fire. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
Glad that all the 37 passengers made it out of the bus safe. The Supreme Court this week upheld Court of Appeal decision of life imprisonment for businessman Katoka Jubi. The panel led by the Chief Justice Alfonso Winnie-Dolo agreed that the sentence was appropriate following the actions of the convict towards the deceased. Katoka Jubi was sentenced to his entire natural life in prison after being convicted on charges of murdering 12-year-old Joseph Kasiri on the 27th of October 2008.
7 judges of the Supreme Court, led by the Chief Justice Alfonso Winnie-Dolo, have upheld Katoka Jubi life sentence verdict that was slapped on him by the Court of Appeal. Others on the panel were Opio Aweri, Lilian Tibatemwa Echirikubinza, Pasenaitu Haise, and Ezekiel Muhanguzi, who presided over the matter. The judgment was read by the Supreme Court Registrar, Harriet Saliru-Kwago.
Similarly, the sentence imposed by the trial court, which the Court of Appeal upheld, is neither unreasonable in the circumstance of the case, nor is it wrong in principle. We therefore find the impunged sentence of life imprisonment handed out to the appellant neither harsh nor excessive, or that it has occasioned injustice to him.
Katoka Jubi's appeal was dismissed after the justices agreed that the Court of Appeal was spot on.
We are satisfied that the Court of Appeal considered the gravity of the crime and the mitigating factors presented by the appellant. There was no matter or circumstance which the court ought to have considered when passing the sentence, but failed to do so. In the premises, we find no grounds upon which we could fault the Court of Appeal in its findings, and making the decision to uphold the conviction and sentence imposed on the appellant by the trial court. We find this appeal devoid of merit and therefore dismiss it.
Katoka Jubi's lawyer Geoffrey Msima vowed to file an application for review of the sentence towards his client.
The beauty we have is that we still have hope, and the hope is that we are going to file an application for review of the same judgment before the panel of 5, and we highlight all the errors this Honorable Court has done in regards to our client's justice. But we are sure that he did not commit that crime. The person who committed the crime, or the persons who committed the crime, one, the wife died. The man or the gentleman who sacrificed the boy is out. He's in police now. He's in police now. Now we need to bring all those errors which have been committed by this Honorable Court so that the justice of our client prevail.
Katoka Jubi was in July 2020 found guilty by the then Masaka High Court Judge Mike Chibita for murdering a 12-year-old boy, Joseph Kasirye, on October 27, 2008, although he challenged the conviction and sentence in the Court of Appeal, but it was upheld. The court found that there was overwhelming evidence that Katoka Jubi hired witch doctors Uma Katerega and his wife, Mariam Nabukera, to kill Joseph Kasirye, a pupil of Kaluji Primary School in Mukungwe Sub-County in Masaka District for ritual purposes on 27 October 2008. Natong Rebecca, Namamondo Deborah, UBC News.
Of the offense of abuse.
Refugees who fled to Uganda after security insurgency broke out in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo are now returning to their home country. This was after the Kinshasa-based government announced that a resemblance of the M23 rebel outfit that attempted to cause political instability has been defeated. Details for that.
The Sunday clashes between the M23 rebels and the government of the Democratic Republic of Congo forced thousands of Congolese refugees into Uganda. However, the refugees are now returning to their home country after the DRC government announced that the rebels have been defeated. Eli Mate, the Chigezi region police spokesperson, confirms that the security situation in the DRC has returned to normalcy.
The situation at the border Bunagana is relatively calm. This is evidenced by the people, our asylum seekers, who entered the country yesterday, and they stayed a night within Bunagana Town Council and now are moving back.
His stressed the need for the Congolese refugees not to stay in Uganda following the silence of the guns and the return of peace in the war-torn Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo.
We also want to assure and guarantee our people that security is on top of the situation here. Security situation is normal. Everything is under control. What is very necessary is to ensure that we cooperate. If you are told to move this side, don't do it.
Most of the refugees are women and children.
Still in the course of the week, the Inspector General of Government, Betty Kamya, this week expressed great need to strengthen systems and enhance integrity in the fight against corruption. She was addressing staff of the Office of the Prime Minister undergoing training at the National Leadership Institute, Changwanzi.
The Inspector General of Government, Betty Kamya Tulomwe, says elimination of corruption will help government save money for boosting the parish development model.
Uganda loses up to 20 trillion shillings a year in corruption. We have taken a moment of silence to consider this. Now, I'll show you the opportunity cost of that. If we could save about 50% of the above cost to corruption, if we could save 10 trillion a year, and using our parish model, which for me I think is the greatest thing that will happen or has happened to this country. If we divided this money into our estimated 10,000 parishes, each parish could receive about 1 billion per year.
Kamya asserted that the Inspectorate of Government is going to enforce the leadership code using the verification of declared assets data, starting with the top leadership of the Inspectorate of Government.
Is it really our war? Us, the elite, is it our war discussing corruption in our air-conditioned boardrooms, 5-star hotels, chauffeur-driven, top-of-the-range vehicles with our 6-figure salaries and guaranteed health care insurance policies for ourselves and our children? Do we know? What do we know about the pain of corruption that we should pour our hearts into the war? Right Honorable Prime Minister, at best, we are just mercenaries. Whether we lose or gain the war, we still get paid.
She, however, noted that some stakeholders might be sleeping on the job or collaborating with mercenaries, hence the need to identify corruption loopholes to have them arraigned in courts of law.
From the whistleblower's account on my desk, Right Honorable Prime Minister, I regret to say that OPM seems to be the chief mercenary and the chief practitioner and the chief beneficiary of corruption. This is the sad reality that I have found in the office of the IG.
Sudat Kaye, UBC.
Now, the government chief whip, Thomas Tayewa, has pledged government support to the people in the diaspora to access and acquisition of national identity cards, passports, among other identifications. Tayewa has been on a working visit to Ugandans living in Johannesburg, who had organized a party to congratulate President Yoweri Museveni upon winning the February 2021 presidential elections.
The NRM South Africa chapter have congratulated President Yoweri Museveni upon winning the recent presidential elections. This was during the event held at Apollo Conference Center in Johannesburg, South Africa. The Uganda community living in South Africa also celebrated Uganda's 59th independence anniversary at an occasion graced by the government chief whip, Thomas Tayewa. The Presidential Advisor on Diaspora Affairs, Ambassador Abe Walusimbi, and the Ambassador of Uganda to South Africa, Kintu Nyago, Fred Opolot, among others, were in attendance.
Examples of political leaders
from the diaspora became their country's leaders. Notable is President Yoweri Museveni. He had been in the diaspora for a long time. That's where he began his activism.
The Ugandan community living in South Africa, led by their patron Philip Kakulu, said the diaspora community wants to be represented on the Central Executive Committee of the NRM party.
The purpose of the event is to re-energize our people towards the sole purpose of being unified as NRM members within the diaspora. Employment is quite a problem. They are looking at how can we improve unemployment, for example, through skilling the Ugandan youth, because as a party we feel that if we can address some of these issues, we can win with a landslide victory far better than even 2021 in 2026 if we address the youth problem.
In his address, Thomas Tayewa commended NRM South Africa chapter for their love towards the NRM party and pledged the government's support.
Biometric machines, then it will reduce the period tremendously. Immediately, we'll take up biometric unit to kugenda direct Kampala. Then ekyokubiri tugenda kukyusa kuriya bwemubadde nga mukozesa. Tugenda kumukyusa ambassador, tugenda kwenye minister, tugenda kumukyusa tuteekeko kuriya omulala passports za mumbere nga muzifuna twogedde at least 2 to 4 weeks.
The chairperson NRM party in South Africa, Ismail Luzige, urged members to keep up the spirit, love and trust for their party for a better future.
President Aberewo, the father of the fatherless, the father of the nation, our loved one, the father of those who are seeking refugee, we love him.
The presidential advisor on diaspora affairs, Haji Abe Walusimbi, called for unity among members to avoid splitting the mighty party.
So yeneraze omukwano guli mu government yaffe ne president waffe Yoweri Museveni.
Story compiled by Wycliffe Mudachi for UBC News.
The Minister of State for Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, David Bahati, has called upon African leaders to maintain peace as the only way to boost trade on the continent. Minister Bahati spoke to UBC at the sidelines of the dialogue on the African Continental Free Trade Area held at Serena Hotel in Kampala under the theme Unlocking Uganda's Potential in the African Continent Free Trade Area, AFCFTA.
Be able to trade. Money does not need the noise of guns. We must make sure at a continental level and through the African Union that we continue to appeal to the leaders on the continent that for us to be able to take advantage of this continental market, guns must go silent. And to do this, we need to encourage business across. Actually, that's one of the objectives of this market of the continent. Because when people are trading with each other, they will not fight with each other. When people are making deals, they will not be able to engage in wars. And therefore, we appeal to all leaders on the continent that guns are a hindrance to trade, are a hindrance to development. Let's sit together and resolve whatever issues are there so that we can allow our citizens to trade with each other without any interruption of guns.
Now, 5 people were this week killed and over 1,000 heads of cattle stolen by Karamojong warriors in the last 1 week, according to the regional police spokesperson Mike Longole. Longole assures people in the region that security operatives are in control. Over 30 families of Batwa people settling in Kalama Batwa settlements areas Kihembe Kanungu district were this week given houses from Bwindi Mungahinga Conservation Trust, I beg your pardon. Mwine Mark David from BMCT says that they are to continue supporting these people. Minister for Information, Communication Technology and National Guidance, Chris Bariomunsi, who officiated the function, appreciated the gesture and effort to have the Batwa transition from grass-thatched houses to something that is more accommodative.
Bwindi Mungahinga Construction Trust has constructed settlement homes for Batwa Group in Kalama, Batwa Settlements area in Chihembe, Kanungu district. At least over 30 homes of Batwa were given decent houses. This was at the event officiated over by the Minister for Information, Communication, Technology and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Bariomunsi. Bariomunsi says government will ensure that the Batwa live a decent life, and he appreciated the Bwindi Mungahinga Conservation Trust for the effort.
We shall tailor the kind of activities to suit the situation of the Batwa, because the ultimate aim of the parish development model is so that everybody can get uplifted from the poor conditions our people live in to better conditions so that they can attain better quality of life. And we shall be able to achieve it, and we shall put special focus to underprivileged populations such as the Batwa.
He urged the Batwa to adopt a modern living and working for themselves.
People in the parish to now work for wealth creation and sufficient food, so they have food security and they are able to engage in gainful activities that can put money in their pockets.
Mwine Mark David from BMCT says they are going to continue supporting these people. He, however, calls upon government for more collective support.
We cannot build all the houses at a go. We are going to build houses for every home because we believe shelter is more important for anybody to live and live comfortably.
The life of the Batwa has changed ever since they were evicted from Bwindi forests. They are now venturing into farming, hands-on skills, among others. Story compiled by Andrew Sabira and Sharon Kyomugisha for UBC News.
Well, UBC News tonight, UBC News Roundup, I beg your pardon, we'll take a short commercial break and we'll be back with more stories in business.
Grow together with one of Uganda's largest companies. Apply for MTN shares for as low as 100,000 Uganda shillings. And when you apply using MTN Mobile Money, you get 10 free extra shares for every 100 shares you apply for. Dial *165*65# or use the MyMTN app to apply now. The terms and conditions of the offer and other important information are set out in the prospectus. For assistance, visit any MTN service center or Stanbic Bank branch countrywide or a licensed broker.
Kagalino twalekedde ekyatulese tuzze tukalanga enfunda eziwerako ddala. Eno ye GoTV Super ey'abakaguje njagala weekaani. Ewatali kwemamaaza olwo tuba tusimbudde ne GoTV Super Duper waawawa. Era nga bakutuusaako ekigo eky'abakabejja abasajja eŋŋwaŋŋuli kw'ogatta ne busineema obujjudde omuhabati ku $5,015 waawawa. Soka Blaza weefunye ekirungo kya GoTV Super ekijjudde obulungi ove mu baaje.
Introducing Learn From Home Data Bundles. Customized bundles for you and your family to study or work seamlessly from the comfort of your home. Use any of these affordable data bundles to connect to your MiFis, routers, laptops, tablets, and smartphones while avoiding unwanted internet exposure and ensuring undivided attention during online classes. Enjoy instant access to Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, and selected educational websites. Dial *175# to buy your Learn From Home bundle today. Airtel, the smartphone network. Terms and conditions apply.
If you look at all sectors, energy has an influence.
Now, how do we build a model that is sustainable? We're making
good investments, and we are growing the sector.
Our record under UEP had not been that very good.
World Bank Group has been involved in Uganda electricity sector since the mid-2000s, where it has supported the government in very bold reform.
The last 15 years, we focused on the parameters that were set in our concession that was negotiated at the time. It took the best minds of Uganda to work on it, and also the best minds internationally, because they had to plan for 20 years ahead.
As remember, we have innovated over the period. We've rolled out cashless. We introduced payment metering, Yaka. As I speak now, the 1.5 million customers are all on Yaka.
The transition has been very, very good, because Ugandans who enjoy the power went out and bought shares.
Umeme's massive investment, a robust and functional distribution network that will impact the lives of Uganda's over 40 million citizens.
Everyone is talking about MTN shares. I am Jenny Kafulua Shares, and I am here to show you how you can get them. First, you need a Securities Central Depository account, or SCD account in short, and you can open one right now using MTN Momo. It's free of charge. Just get your phone and your national ID, and let me show you how. Now, why do you need an SCD account? Well, because every time you get shares in any company, well, including MTN, your shares are going to be kept in this account. But this is not a bank account, and you don't need to go anywhere to open it. So is your phone and your national ID ready? Good. Let me show you how to open your SCD account. First, dial *165*65# or use my MTN app. Then select option 1 to submit SCD account application. Then enter your full national ID number or NIN. Next, select your preferred stockbroker and then choose option 1 to accept the terms and conditions. Lastly, enter your mobile money PIN and wait for confirmation, which you will receive on SMS. Oh, by the way, stockbrokers are the people authorized to help you buy or sell any listed company shares, so you need to choose one. That's it. Once you have your SCD account, you're ready to start applying for your MTN shares for as low as 100,000 shillings for 500 shares.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field couldn't be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
The Kabaka Birthday Run 2021 is back on Sunday, 28th November 2021, and will be flagged off by Sabasaja Kabaka at 7 a.m. in support of men, good health, and the fight against ending AIDS by 2030. It will be a virtual run in our various homes and communities around Uganda, with every participant following the Ministry of Health guidelines and SOPs to stop the spread of corona. Buy your ticket today at 15,000 Uganda shillings from Airtel Shops, New Park, Chagwe Road, ShopRite Building, Benchwanuka, Tobani Center, or Bulange Mengo. You can also buy your ticket using Airtel Money. Dial *185*5#. Select payments, select Kabaka Run, and follow the prompts to complete the payment. Kabaka Birthday Run 2021, brought to you by UNAIDS, CBS, BBS, and Airtel, the smartphone network.
You're still watching UBC News Roundup today on the 14th of November 2021. Now in our business stories of the week, roadside vendors are among the category of people that have suffered the impact of COVID-19. This is due to the reduced demand of their commodities, most of which are perishable and include roasted meat, maize, yellow bananas, fresh fruits and soft drinks. Most customers do not buy bites, drinks and non-food items out of fear of contracting COVID-19 and the associated curfew.
Street and roadside vending provide necessary goods and services to those in need, mainly those on the move. These food, drinks and non-food items vendors provide essential goods to the travelers in good times. But in the wake of COVID-19, most of this business has either shrunk or wound up due to lockdowns. Street vending can only thrive in a free market with no encumbrances like poor hygiene and contagious diseases. Vending is also a skill that calls for resilience and firmness. It is a juakali kind of hustle that requires passion and resolve. To benefit from vending, one has to be quick-paced, a splinter and all-weather because it is a business done in the open with clients being those on the move. Frequent hand washing and other hygiene rituals that are essential in a COVID-19 environment may not be possible since it is a roadside business where relevant infrastructure may not be easily to set up. There is obviously inadequate water supply, sanitation and hygiene facilities, and therefore washing hands is futile unless urban authorities provide the means to do it. Street vendors have always faced onerous regulations and punitive measures by authorities, including confiscating of goods and arrests. The imposition of local and national lockdowns to contain the spread of COVID-19 is threatening the livelihoods and survival of vendors and their families in some places.
Kafyu nga tuyisa bubi obudde bwe tukoleramu obudde bwe luli twatandikanga ssaawa 10 nga tunyuka ssaawa 4:05 sinakindi n'omukaaga naye kati ebiseera byatuuka ng'emmamba bagirya kyamisana nga buli omu abeera mu dduka era byatuyisa bubi nnyo kafyu yatuyisa bubi nnyo lwa nsonga ng'ebyennyanja bisigalawo ebyennyanja biddibya nga si enkola gye twalinga tukolamu olw'ensonga ya kafyu.
Transport ekintu ekyo kyatukosa nnyo kubanga ffe abasinga twalekawo famire zaffe ne tujja ne tusula mu katale. Tuza tusobola okubeera wano okulwa transport eyali teriiwo entambula nzibu ne tubeera nga tusula wano mu katale ne kibanga nakyo kyatunyigirizaamu.
Mukene yagwa ebbeeyi olw'okuba baasiba obutale n'amakubo ne bagasiba mukene nga tutunda layisi nga tetulina kye tufunamu.
In cities where unprotected informal workers form a large workforce, development processes should prioritize efforts that secure their livelihoods. Guaranteeing their social, political and economic rights and involving them in dialogues should be central to a COVID-19 recovery strategy. Vendors have previously been a common feature along Uganda's highways, taxi and bus parks and strategic corners in urban centers, but the advent of COVID-19 has been injurious to otherwise vibrant business.
Well, in more stories, Agricultural Police Unit working with the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries this week carried out an operation against counterfeit and fake agricultural inputs dealers in the container village downtown Kampala. Over 20 people were netted in an operation for causing financial loss of over 300 million Ugandan shillings to government over fake agricultural products and inputs.
The Agriculture Police Unit in Kampala of the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal, Industry and Fisheries have conducted an operation to wipe out suppliers of these fake commodities in the container village. Police and inspectors checked different shops to ascertain whether they had authentic certificates of operation. Suppliers and dealers of fake agricultural products were ordered to unpack their shelves.
What else is expired before we check?
How can we be the ones to tell you that?
I know this one.
Horizontal Enterprises shop, whose owner bolted off, was found with buckets, jerry cans, tins, and various chemicals they use for making fake inputs.
To be sold, it has been banned, paraquat. So it's not supposed to be sold in the shop. It's not supposed to be in display.
Bukola Chemicals Industries branch was also found with the fake products and was sealed off.
There's an outcry that farmers are suffering out there, but they normally source their agricultural inputs from Container Village here. Then following that information, we decided to plan an operation, a joint operation that we have conducted today, and relatively it is true, because so far we have arrested some people who were found to be faking inputs. Out is that some are manufactured from within the shops. There is a shop we entered and we saw how he's doing it.
Johnny Wubizu Mayanja, the Assistant Commissioner for Agrochemicals from the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, said they discovered weed master and other insecticides among the faked items. He, however, said that the fake products will undergo trials, and if confirmed as counterfeits, they'll hand them over to NEMA for destruction.
Discovered many products which we suspect have been faked. Products mainly are those popular brands which people need so much. For example, the herbicides. I can give you Weed Master. Ways how a farmer can tell is that normally faked products have no registration numbers. And again also, if you looked at the batch number, they will be having different batch numbers. And also if you look at the seal itself, you will find that it's not proper, like that one which is sealed by a machine. So that could be one way of suspecting that this product has been tampered with. Who have been arrested are going to be taken to court and charged according to the Agricultural Chemicals Control Act 2006. Then with the products, we are taking them to our stores in Namarere, but after police using them as an exhibit, we get companies which are accredited by NEMA, then they incinerate these products.
The chairman of Agriculture Inputs Traders at Container Village, Roy Kato, says they have always held meetings with the traders, but many have turned a deaf ear. I'm Ivan Juko, reporting for UBC in Kampala.
Mubuko irrigation scheme farmers in Kasese district this week asked the Ministry of Agriculture to appoint a substantial officer to streamline the scheme alleged to have been mismanaged by Lawrence Tibesigwa. Farmers allege that Tibesigwa, who is in charge of Mubuko irrigation scheme during his 7 years of office, has been involved in acts of illegal selling of scheme land and allocation of land to ghost farmers, among others.
Mubuku irrigation scheme have criticized the officer in charge of the scheme over disorganizing the scheme activities. Lawrence Tibesigwa, who has been in charge of the scheme for the last 7 years, is said to have been involved in acts of illegal selling of scheme land and allocating land to gossip farmers, among others.
Who can give out a government property single-handedly alone without a minute of a committee?
He has subdivided the land, he has turned land use to other activities. The dairy units have been turned into crop production, which is against the law.
Tibesigwa, however, refutes all the claims.
I've been here for the last 7 years, and I brought this scheme almost to order, including fighting for their grabbed land, 155 hectares of land, plus these encroachers. And when the situation was normalizing, that's when the selfish people, selfish farmers, not all, some selfish farmers, turned out against me.
Through Mubuku Irrigation Settlement Farmers Cooperative Society Limited, the farmers want Tibesigwa replaced as soon as possible.
He was given a contract of 2 years. Then after 2 years, he would go home and retire.
Attempts to prove that he's DOC. He has failed bringing up those documents which support him. So now we have another extra step. We have been in.
The scheme was handed over to the current management in 2014 with about 164 farmers operating on 516 hectares of land. Story compiled by Moses Mutabali for UBC News.
There's been an increase in domestic tourism in Jinja City, and with most foreign tourists jetting into the country, the industry is on a revival path. UBC this week visited bungee jumping, one of the most booming tourism hubs in Jinja. To have more of this.
The hospitality sector in Jinja City is currently relying on domestic tourists. With the numbers of local tourists growing by the day, the sector players are optimistic.
People have still felt like, no, it's a bit scary.
Yeah, many people I think have been too scared even to leave the house. But luckily you're seeing people freeing up now.
However, there are concerns on curfew time.
I think the main problem now is the curfew, to be fair. 7 o'clock is very early. There's one safari we no longer do because of the curfew. We used to do a twilight safari, but now the curfew stops that. And with COVID around, we don't want to bring our customers into a village house to eat food. We'll stay away from that until this all clears.
The recent reopening of Banji, Uganda, a center of tourism activities, has breathed life to adventure tourism in the area.
This isn't my first time doing it. My first time it was much fun. Actually, I came excited doing it, and that day I did it twice. So this time round I've come to do the third one.
I'm 12 years old, and this is my first time. Man, I'm feeling kind of nervous.
In the past, the fear of the unknown has prevented Ugandans from participating in activities such as bungee jumping, rafting and tubing.
Far so good. At least domestic tourism it's okay. It's like now it's what we are relying on because the international is not yet like fully open. Yes. So it's the best activity for Ugandans, foreigners, yeah.
Some places they'll have a single rope holding onto the bungee cord. Some places the bungee cord is just pure rubber. Here there's always two of everything. There's the main one and there's the backup one. So here there's the main rope, then there's the backup rope. And inside the bungee cord itself there's the main rubber that holds the person, and there's a backup fall arrest system as well.
Charlotte Amuge for UBC News.
Well, thank you so much for staying tuned and watching UBC News Roundup today on the 14th of November 2021. My name is Sharon Kyomugisha. Have a lovely weekend and a great week ahead of you.
Introducing Learn From Home Data Bundles. Customized bundles for you and your family to study or work seamlessly from the comfort of your home. Use any of these affordable data bundles to connect to your MiFi, routers, laptops, tablets, and smartphones while avoiding unwanted internet exposure and